Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of Wasted Potential. Today we'll be continuing on from our previous work of Mass Effect. We'll now be talking about Mass Effect 2, the unplanned sequel to the previous podcast, because I thought we'd be able to get all of this in one episode.
Oh, how naive ye be!
Oh yeah, I should have known better knowing how long these games are.
And how long you can ramble, Soul, and how long I am the co-host can ramble.
Yeah.
There, introductions are done because sometimes we don't properly introduce ourselves. That's that's something we've got to get into the habit. So I re-listened to a few. I'm like, oh shit, we didn't introduce ourselves. Ooh, that's awkward.
Live and learn. Live and learn.
I mean, that is one of the better Sonic the Hedgehog final boss songs.
But no, today we'll be talking about Mass Effect 2, the sequel to Mass Effect 1, picking up, what was it, like a year or two after Mass Effect 1?
I thought it was a few months.
Now, time is a little hard to tell when there's actually no time technically in space.
Technically, time itself is a human construct.
Yeah, but all the other species seem to have picked up on it as well.
Yeah. It's a good thing they all use, basic English, same means of time telling, and,
Well, I always thought that was just a translator thing.
Yeah, I know. It's a lot of convenience.
I'll take it. The game's fun enough. I don't need to complicate it.
Yeah. If you overcomplicate it, ends up being really bland and boring, which is my entire reason why I don't watch Star Trek.
But, yeah, it took place after Mass Effect 1. It used your save file from Mass Effect 1 to make a couple of subtle changes to some of the story, certain events and certain characters you'll meet up with, where certain characters were placed during the story.
And if someone died, they stayed kaplutz.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes we were glad for that. Sometimes we were wondering how they survived.
Yeah.
But they did the kind of offshoot smart thing that if you had not played Mass Effect 1 for whatever reason, they gave you a DLC to kind of build through a kind of comic book-like style build what happened in Mass Effect 1 for your character.
Yeah, I played Mass Effect 1 once, never again, but that save file was for my male character. When I played 2, I didn't go back to 1 and play it again as a female character, so I could just jump into 2 with a female character, who I carried on to 3.
Yeah, and before we get into characters, which will take a good amount of conversation, let's talk the difference between Mass Effect 1 and Mass Effect 2, because there were a substantial amount of changes that improved the game.
Mostly gameplay.
Yeah. This is one of the reasons that I couldn't put Mass Effect as a whole either between Wasted Potential or Semi-Perfect.
Yeah.
But it's only because as a growing series, I think they were going in the right direction.
Yeah, they realized there were some massive flaws with, I think, just one-to-one porting the original Dragon Age engine.
Yeah, they
They took away a lot of the roll of the dice involved with gameplay.
Yeah, they removed the D&D dice rolls for shooting. I know there's probably still some dice rolling for doing certain events.
Yeah, there's also criticals were still a thing that was the game rolled for.
But I think they just give you higher odds for a good critical if you hit like the head or something.
Yeah, as a guy who primarily used sniper rifles, I can testify that I got a lot of critical-like shots.
Yeah, I just usually eviscerated everything.
Yeah, that's fair. I didn't want to get the smell on me.
Yeah, but no, they had more of a third-person aim and shoot mechanic to it that made the combat a lot more gun-based. I found.
Yeah. Where the guns actually matter. You could no longer snipe with a shotgun.
Yeah, in Mass Effect 1, it didn't matter what gun you used. If you leveled it up and you had the skill with it and you had the high-level gun, the game's over. There's unless you're playing like the highest difficulty where you got to plan out every move, the game's over.
Yeah. In 2 and 3, You can, if you have the level to, you can use any gun, and if your own gameplay skills are good enough, you can get by with them.
Well, not true. In 2, it's depicted by a class what guns you could use.
Yeah, I was going to get to that. Like there are some modifiers, but
Yeah.
the main thing is if you don't have any of your skills in the sniping abilities, because I forget what they're called off the top of my head, you could still get away with trying to be a sniper if you relied on your own gunplay skills enough. Now, obviously, if you did this, you got bonuses.
Mm-hmm.
But if you wanted to, you didn't have to put a thing into your weapons and just go on a different path and still do massive damage with heavily upgraded guns. Skill was just as important as your stat build, which is how you really should do a game like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like if this was XCOM, where it's all tactical, yeah, roll the dice makes sense. But this is halfway between tactical and full-on shooter game. So blending the two, where if you go, oh, I'm a terrible shot in this game, but my stats are good enough that the game is helping me with that. That's good. Or I'm a really good shot in this game. I don't need to waste stats in gunplay. I can put it in like the abilities, like throw
Look,
more
all
fire.
I'm saying is that if you're gonna tell me I'm a trained soldier badass, I should not be waving that sniper rifle around when I'm looking through the scope like I'm on like the earthquake is going on.
Yeah,
That's kind of contradictory to some point.
yeah. You don't have the Metal Gear Solid meds you can just pop into Steady Snake's aiming.
Yeah, but even then he wasn't going wee.
That reminds me of this really, really old Flash animation I once saw called, well, I think it was just called Super Flash Bros. And they were being attacked by Konami as like a person who represents Konami, and he's trying to snipe with them. He's like, oh, I'll just take these pills to aim better, and just keeps taking more and more and more, and he gets. Okay, he's got a perfect shot. He's all nice and lined up, and he just falls over like a stiff board. And one of the other characters, I think, is Capcom. Is like, I didn't know you could overdose on those things. And every time I think of bad snipers, I just think of a guy overdosing on these meds to stop his jitters. Basically planking or like entering instant rigor mortis.
But yeah, there is also, but besides changing up the combat a lot to kind of make the game more fluid, they also added in the, I can't remember what they called it, but with the Renegade and the Paragon with the triggers.
Yeah, the morality system.
Well, not that, like when you can pull the trigger.
Morality. Yeah, action morality is what I've always called it. I didn't know it had an official name.
I think it did, but I can't think of it for the life of me at the moment.
Yeah, various scenes throughout the story, you get, there are Paragon, which are the goody-goody options you can take, and then the Renegade options you can take. And every now and then, during a cutscene, rather than be a dialogue choice, an actual flash-up will happen in the corner saying, if you hit the left trigger at this point, you're going to do a Paragon thing, or if you do the right trigger thing, you're going to do the Renegade thing. And they didn't happen at the same time. Sometimes there's only a Paragon option, sometimes there's only a Renegade option. My favorite forever is, I take this even on a pure Paragon route, because I can't help myself, is there's this... I think it's a Krogan. He's rambling to you on top of like a staircase, and there's an explosive barrel behind his head.
Oh, that's the Renegade moment, and yeah, I do that too.
And if you take the Renegade moment, your character will stop talking and just shoot the explosive barrel behind his head and just kill the guy. You skip an entire fight with him. You don't have to listen to him ramble anymore, and you can just get on with the mission.
Yeah,
and
my top favorite one is in 3, but we'll get to that when we get there.
Yeah, I logic that as a Paragon thing just because it ends the fight sooner, and we don't have to, we can get to the mission sooner, so we can help people sooner.
Yeah. Now, one of the other things Mass Effect 2 did was it gave you a bigger roster of characters.
And actually really interesting roster of characters, too. It introduced one character who I can't stand more than Ashley. A little Miss
Funny enough, it's another female. That's really kind of weird.
But it also introduced... some of my favorite characters in the series.
Well, since we already mentioned her, let's start with the one you hate the most.
It's Miranda.
Miranda Lawson. Oh, boy.
She's genetically bred and designed to be a perfect human. She looked really ugly to me.
Yeah,
I know beauty is a subjective thing, but she looked like the worst. There's a character, another character I think Soul's really fond of introduced in this game that's supposed to look very off-putting, but she looked more just look better, even though I don't like that style they went with.
Yeah, she's the one that starts. She's the one that starts off with the chip on her soldier for Cerberus.
Yeah, Cerberus is the organization you work with in this game.
Yes,
They're pretty
they're a
much.
human activist group in space, and
Oh, that sounds like a good thing. No, no, they're basically. I want to say the space Ku Klux Klan at times.
yeah, only replace color of skin with if what species you are.
Yeah,
Now that's not to say that everybody in Cerberus is that way. We come across a couple of people that are
yeah,
a lot more open-minded.
yeah, and
Now,
obviously,
the one, the,
we in the Mass Effect universe we're introduced to space aliens, so of course there is more logic to Cerberus being like they are because we did just had a war with, and then we are forced to obey space alien rules
yeah, or we got screwed over on it first because we didn't know what the hell was going on.
and they're basically like, hey, we didn't know. Why are you punishing for something we didn't know? And it's like, we broke laws. Laws are laws.
Yeah, but you
Like
think...
if you go into if if Soul came out to Canada and started punching endangered species and got arrested for it, he's like, I didn't know these creatures were endangered. Yeah, you didn't know, but you still broke the goddamn law. And if I did the exact same, I went down to the States and started punching bald eagles without knowing they're an endangered species, I should be punished for that.
Well, punishment and leading to a war are two different things.
Yeah, well, yeah, that is fair, but at the same time, we don't know enough about the First Contact War.
Well, we know a couple of things thanks to DLC from 3, but we'll get into that in 3.
I don't remember those. I may not have done that DLC.
Yeah, you did. You may have missed. You may have gone past it when running through the vault.
To be fair, though, the Mass Effect games are crammed packed with so much stuff that I think we're always missing things.
Yeah, I think that's the good and bad thing is that if you keep playing through it, you'll find like new little things.
Plus, there's so much in-game blocks of text.
Yeah. Okay. Back to topic.
Yeah, back to 2. We'll go on to the next character from 2 that was introduced. Jack. Not Jack. Jacob?
Jacob. I can't think of his last name at the moment. Hold on a second. Taylor, I want to say.
Yeah, I think that's what his name. Anyway, Jacob is an example of a Cerberus guy who's pretty easygoing.
Yeah, Jacob Taylor.
Yeah, I actually ended up really liking Jacob.
I was.
His solution to a lot of things is to bring a shotgun. That's a pretty good solution.
Yeah, it's a fair enough solution. And he's not like
he's not a guy I really cared for, but if he was asking me to, like, hey, could you help me move a couch? Yeah,
he was the friendly guy. He wasn't the gun-happy, crazy nutcase that he comes along later.
Yeah,
but he was a solid choice, and I think his class, from where he came from, was actually pretty solid. And for a good early bit, I brought him along.
Yeah, and he's got his skills were ended up really useful when I did have to use them, so I never felt like I was being hindered when I had him in the party.
I will say his story quest line was actually pretty good.
Yeah, his story quest line was fascinating, especially the weird shit that happened to the people on that planet.
Yeah, because small spoilers, his father was supposedly dead, but just wound up going missing and landed on this alien planet where the food made you mentally regress.
Yeah.
And Jacob's father was not a good man on this.
No, and you get to there's a couple renegade choices that I think are mandatory.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess we should probably
I will say this though, it felt like the crew kind of interacted with each other more in this one.
Yeah, the crew
though you never saw it per se all the time.
No.
It was more like behind the scenes, but you always got the feeling this crew was actually talking to each other a little more. Especially with Jacob and Miranda, with them having nods of each other through, I think it was a iPod game, or not iPad game.
Yeah, was it 2 or 3 where you could walk into the room and overhear conversations where they didn't have this character in the room with them, but they were on a voice chat together?
I think that was both, but I think it more happened in 2.
I can remember a few times in 3, but I can't remember it in 2. But it feels like 2 started that. You did not always see these characters interact, but they did clearly have a lot more interactions.
Yeah.
Behind closed doors, which made them feel much more fleshed out.
Yeah, I don't remember Miranda's that much.
No,
Oh,
well,
she was going after her sister. That's right.
yeah, yeah. Her crazed
The same
father.
thing in 3.
Yeah, which always good when you repeat a story.
Well, 3 kind of gave it that better climax ending.
Yeah, 3 did it well too. It's just kind of like, oh, that was a thing we did.
Yeah, it felt more like a side mission to do just to do it.
Yeah, 3 had at least a payoff to it. I guess we should talk about the next character, which is one of the characters we both think is probably one of the best Mass Effect characters.
Tali?
We already talked about her in 1.
Yeah, but her situation changed in 2.
We'll talk about the reoccurring characters after we talk about the new characters.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so let's talk about Grunt then.
I said character we both really like.
I know, I'm only kidding.
I don't dislike Grunt. I just like Jacob more.
I'll explain about him in a minute.
Yeah.
Morden, what? Solus?
Solus, I think it's pronounced.
Because it's Solus. That always throws me off.
I'm pretty sure it's Solus.
I think you're right, but like I said, it throws me off. Just I can really do our own language right. The hell with the alien language added in.
Anyway, he's the first Solarian, one of the other aliens we get to see in this universe that joins our team. And Solarians have a lifespan, I think, of like 35 to 40 years.
Somewhere between 30 to 40 years, depending upon.
Yeah, and he's pretty much near retiring age, from what I understand.
I would imagine, because he's done a lot.
Yeah, he's technically, I think, the same age as Shepard, but because of his species, he's the oldest guy on the crew, in a sense.
Yeah, it's one of those weird things between
because
maturity, aging, and
because they live like 35 to 40 years. I think they like sleep 2 or 3 hours a day,
if that.
And they're mentally active for so much longer.
I'm pretty sure Morden kind of cut that time in into a third at this point.
Yeah, I'm definitely sure when humans introduce caffeine to the Solarians.
Why is that Solarian jittering so much? I see 3 of him.
Oh, you do see 3 of them. Just all 3 of them have the same espresso. If you close one eye, you might see one of them vibrates at a different rate, so you might notice him. But yeah, he's the team medic. Also the team espionage expert at times.
Team scientist, team doctor. Well, no, not the doctor, because we actually had a doctor, but
and we do get her back, I think.
Yeah, we got Morden for his work with a lot of bioengineering and stuff like that.
Yeah, he's a bioengineer. He's a bioweapons expert.
I'm not sure there is anything he isn't an expert on, but
he is the very model of a scientist Solarian. He has a wonderful singing voice.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's copyright. Otherwise, I might start this episode with that.
I would not have risked it.
No, I'm not risking it.
I would have loved to.
I'm just saying.
I think if we did a cover of it, it would be safe. At the same time, I don't have the energy to sing.
Yeah, and I don't know the words that well enough.
I wouldn't know. I would obviously get the song before I started singing. But
yeah.
What we both like about Morden so much is
he's a people person.
He's a people person, and he goes a mile a minute with the way he talks and thinks and walks around.
See, the thing is, he's a people person. The people just can't keep up to realize that.
Yeah, and he's just a delight to be around. Like, even when he's like talking about 1,000 ways we can die, he's still really, really charming.
My favorite interrupt moment is Shepard just telling him, "Yeah, we got all on the ship. Let's go." Before you start giving me a bigger speech of how you should come along.
Yeah. My favorite thing is because there's so much interspecies relationships, and he's a doctor. He gives advice on every species you can intercourse with in the game. Not every character is a romance option, and he himself is not. And he points out himself that his species, they go by lay eggs and then fertilize the eggs. And it's like, I don't really feel an attraction to you. I'm flattered though because you keep showing up at my lab talking to me. And it's like, no, I'm just here to talk to you. I like talking to you. It's not a romance thing. But he takes it as this is clearly a thing I've read about where species will keep talking to each other, showing up. Like, you clearly have an interest in me. I'm flattered. If my species did that, you'd be my first choice, Shepard. Second choice would be an Asari. I not quite understand why my species like them. And he just goes on for a while. And you're just like, I just came in to see if you had any new information about what we're doing. Oh god, this is so awkward. I'm being shot down.
For something I didn't even ask.
I thought now the image is in my head, so thanks, Doc. You planted it in my brain. Was that? Is this whole thing just an experiment on me? I don't even know.
Yeah, that's the thing. Sometimes you don't know if he's experimenting or he's actually telling you face first.
My second favorite conversation he has is you talk to him. He says, "Oh, I found the bugs in my lab. Miranda left here. Here are the expensive ones." Because because he before being a doctor, he was also a special agent, so he's very good at.
Yeah, he was on the Solarian Black Ops.
He's very good at debugging things. So he debugged the room. He's not even upset that he's being bugged, and he saved the expensive ones for her.
I think he just half expected, you know, he's working for a human rights.
I think he probably does it everywhere he goes, out of just a nervous habit of his.
Well,
maybe
I get the feeling he hasn't been proven wrong on that yet.
Probably not. He probably debugs as like a stress relief. Like, you know, some people pick up a stress ball. He just checks the room for bugs.
He probably just goes home and debugs his house.
He probably bugs and debugs his house constantly.
I'm going to go on vacation. I'll bug here, I'll bug here, I'll bug here. When I come back in 3 weeks, I'll see if I remember all this or if I can find it again.
Wait, I'll do it blindfolded.
Here's what I missed. I'm getting sloppy. What did I record on this one? Oh, yes!
Now I remember why I put that there. And destroyed. But yeah, we'll talk about
He's got a good energy to him.
Yeah, and he's just generally funny.
Yeah.
And he's aware that he's kind of a funny guy.
He's aware of it, but also at the same time, sometimes when he's at his funniest, he's not aware of it.
Yeah. He's very flat, and he has a very dry sense of humor times.
Oh, yeah.
Which is why oftentimes I wanted to bring him over my usual characters, because I just wanted to know what his jokes would have been. Like, his comments.
I also liked his story mission, going through the Krogan homeworld, seeing his apprentices work.
And having that
he is a scientist, and he believes in expanding knowledge. He does have a decent set of morals on that.
Yeah.
Now, he does know that there has to be sacrifice in the name of knowledge. But there is such a thing as a waste that gains you nothing.
Yeah. He's one of the better examples of scientists. Science has no morals, scientists do. And he really sticks to his morals, even when he feels conflicted.
And he really gets conflicted over the Krogans once he...
Yeah, and
he rational... And nothing against him, but he rationalizes a lot of things in his head. But just because you can rationalize it, once you get down into it, it can severely change how you view things. And that
I think he even states that, you know, just looking at a chart is different than being on the site.
If he doesn't, he heavily implied that. I know that much.
And he also heavily implied that after the Krogans, he's made sure to always be on site for the things he does.
Mm-hmm.
Just so he can have the truest picture.
I think he also made note to kind of go over more details of all the plans he was going to implement.
Yeah.
Because
And when he gets to a crossroads where he's literally on the fence, he turns to you, and it actually feels like a very natural thing to do for, we've worked together for such a long time. We've known each other for a few weeks. You forget, Solarians. Oh, right. For you, this has been ages. Yeah, I think you should do this, and he'll take your answer and rationalize it and run with it. Yeah, I see your point, and it felt the most natural for him when you help him make a deciding choice.
I mean, even when he doesn't fully understand it at the moment, he still rationalizes it, and he still even mentions the other one had a rationality to it as well.
And again, because his species live for such a short burst and go through growth so fast, when you get back to the ship, he's had more than enough time to debate this with himself. So he feels fine with his choices usually by the end of it.
Yeah, and if not, he at least talks about them.
Yeah, and he's one of my favorite characters to talk to. Out of all the Mass Effect characters, he's the one I want to have sit down the most and have like a dinner conversation with.
I agree to that. He probably is my favorite companion to talk to with.
Yeah, he may not be my favorite companion with a story. He may not be my favorite companion for combat. He may not be my favorite design companion, but he's definitely the one I want to talk to the most.
Yeah, okay. We can stop gushing over him because we still have to get on with this podcast.
Yeah. All right, we'll go on to Grunt, who is one of your favorite characters. I don't dislike Grunt. I just wasn't wowed by him.
I think this is one of the things where I think it's still fitting the wasted potential, because Grunt felt at the start such a great potential, and then it dropped.
Grunt is the Krogan replacement for Rex. He's a What do they call them? Tube grown?
Tube grown, batch clone, whatever the hell you want to call it.
Batch.
He is a
Yeah.
genetic template grown in a pod.
Yeah.
You were originally supposed to recruit some Overlord Krogan,
Guy making
Okir, I
her.
think it was,
Yeah.
and Okir got killed because he was making clones for a mercenary group, and he was actually using them to make a perfect Krogan. Grunt is the survival of that perfect Krogan, and when you let him go, he almost tries to kill you.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's a Krogan.
Yeah.
Now, the way I think that the potential got lost in Grunt is that even when he first says to himself is, why should he care about your war?
Yeah. Which is
He,
honestly quite fair.
yeah, he is not. He doesn't start off as your typical super soldier looking for the next war. He's
No.
more in depth, looking for purpose. I find.
He honestly felt far more intellectual in the start and got dumber as he lived.
For a large majority of what you see, I can kind of see where that's coming from.
I know that's not what he was, but at the start, he had a bit more philosophical nature to him. If he had stayed if he had grown into the warrior poet role, I actually would have liked him. But he quickly devolved into the show me the next fight.
And there's nothing wrong with that,
No,
but
but we already had that pretty much in Rex, and I was hoping they would have gone with a different half of him. And yes, there is still a significant difference between Rex and Grunt.
Rex has a lot more experience than Grunt does, even though Grunt is how big he is.
Yeah.
The other thing I liked about Grunt was how he looked so different from the other Krogans, though. His faceplate wasn't fully formed yet. It still was, like, differently designed. He had, like, baby blue eyes, which I've never seen on a Krogan. It was just a nice touch to have him look so different for being a Tankborn.
Yeah, it was so they could obviously tell right away. Normal Krogans could tell, hey, you're not a true Krogan, you're a Tankborn.
Mm-hmm. Now, you know what they could have done was him going on with trying to be who he is and still earn respect from the Krogans would have been a nice touch.
That would have been nice. Like, if he had been the warrior poet and got the respect from the Krogans, he would have probably beaten Rex in terms of best Krogan for me. Mm-hmm. But he just ended up being...
Now, here's the thing that I also think got wasted is that they cut... Once you do a certain amount of story with certain characters, two characters will interact.
Mm.
There was supposed to be interaction between Grunt and Morden.
Yeah.
Talking about the Genophage that got cut from the game.
Which is something I would have liked to see.
Oh, yeah. Especially when you find out how this leads into Mass Effect 3 and Morden's choices and everything like that. This would have been an interesting conversation to see and hear.
Yeah.
Because while I'm not arguing that the Krogans needed to be controlled at the point they were going with,
there's control, and then there's... I don't know the best word to call it, but it's like continuous genocide is probably the best word for it. At least that's how the Krogans view it.
Because I think you find out in 2, so I'm just going to come out and say it. Spoilers if they don't, but I forget. The Genophage pretty much cut down how much the Krogans can reproduce.
So many miscarriages.
Yeah, that's the problem, is that the miscarriages happen. It wasn't that, you can only produce 1 or 2 offspring. No, you reproduce so many offspring, there's just almost no chance almost any of them are really going to survive.
Yeah.
They were trying to curl the numbers, and if the Krogans had stayed on their planet and tried to repopulate, they would have gotten their numbers steadier. The problem is that the Krogans are not exactly known for staying in one place.
Yep.
They're more of a warrior race.
Yeah.
And with that many miscarriages, there's mental scarring and all that other fun stuff, and it's just not pleasant for anyone.
No, it's not. And one of the reasons Grunt was made was because, well, if we can't genetically breed, we might as well figure out a different solution to that. Why don't we clone or genetically create them this way?
Well, actually, Okir was making a Krogan that was so perfect and such a grandstanding warrior, no one would ever forget him.
That too. But I'm pretty sure there's also part of the research for him involved.
Oh, yeah, I'm not arguing that, but there were problems with the clones at the start, so...
Yeah, well, from the cloning in the Mass Effect universe is not an exact science quite yet.
No.
I think they even word that other species don't clone very well.
Yeah, well, at least with the constitution of a Krogan, you got better odds.
That was probably why they were using Krogans as a test sample.
Yeah, because I can't see Solarians making very good test subjects for that.
No. Okay, so we got on to the next character who joins the party. Jack? I think Jack is next.
Jack is I don't know if they ever gave her a real name. I think they did.
I don't think they. I don't remember, and I don't really. Jack's just how I know her. And
Yeah, no, I'm just curious, just because it's
uh,
me. But
how do you want to try and solo Jack?
Jack is your biotic handful. She
I was going
is
to say living time bomb, but that works too.
well. Given some of the things that have happened to her, I can't fully argue why she's like
Oh
she is.
God, no. No, okay, I think I know what best way to describe Jack. She's your psychic nitroglycerin.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, her breaking out of the prison was fun to watch.
Yeah, yeah. And I didn't again. This is not a character I disliked. It's just wasn't that amazed by her.
I wasn't amazed by her storyline, but at the same time, it was still just kind of fun talking to her at times.
Uh,
Just because,
no, that was it. I liked her storyline much more. I did talking to her.
well,
But
how do I put this?
that's just the way I am. I'm
No,
not
that's
really.
fine. The reason I like talking to her because it was a little bit of a different experience talking to her than it was the other humans on the ship.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of times there's military protocol and you're being on top. She literally didn't give a shit.
No.
Which is kind of, well, it's not anything new to have a character like that. After having everything follow along with that military style, it was a bit of a fresh air.
I will admit that she definitely brought a different air to the ship, especially considering she didn't take a room. She just lived in the air ducts below the engine.
And nobody wanted to go near her.
No. No. What I really would have wanted is she and Miranda have a nice conversation, I guess is the way of saying it.
That's one way of putting it.
I would have much prefer if she and Grunt butted heads more often.
To be fair, I would have preferred to launch them out of the air ducts in case anything went wrong, but that's personal opinion.
Yeah. But because, Grunt is...
Actually, that reminds me of a comic I saw on Deviant. It's the two of them. Jack is doing a biotic punch and Grunt's just punching, and they're just doing the bro fists in the ship that's causing the ship to rock.
Why do I just see Shepard running downstairs? You kids knock it out down there.
It's just epic fun to watch because as much as I see those two butting heads, they also get along with a lot of things.
That's what I wanted to see those two basically come, bad cop, bad cop.
Why do I have to play good cop?
Because you're smaller.
Oh, that would have
twist his arm. Okay, I'll be good cop.
I was talking about Commander Shepard.
Oh, my Shepard would have. My male Shepard would have never been the good cop. He would have made those two look like the good cop. Without threat, they just naturally come across as the better cop because I don't have shit for this. You're gonna help me with this mission, or you're gonna die.
Speaking of the good cop, bad cop routine, because
the last new
Jack
character
was kind of going in between on everything. She had good. Her storyline was pretty decent, but I didn't feel there was anything really to write home about. But she kind of blows up an old place where she was tortured and experimented on.
Her story in 3 is much better.
Mm-hmm.
It had a lot more closure to it.
But I think it's better in 3 because of her previous storyline, though.
Yeah, we had to know this. And I never used Jack, but that's just because I don't use biotics.
Fair enough. But the next one I think is more of the fan favorite for Mass Effect 2. Because I see a lot of art of him. I see a lot of him shipping with female Shepard.
Yeah.
Not sure if he's a male possible, but...
I don't know if he's possible. I'm going
to look that up, but I'm just curious. But Thane Krios.
Yeah.
The assassin of the party.
The very different kind of assassin. He's kind of
female only.
Okay. But yeah, there's actually a small a lot of these characters are actually bi. But not all are, which is a realistic thing. On a small tangent, one of the things people got mad about in Fire Emblem for a while is you could, date characters, but there's no bi characters in some situations. And they're like, why are there no bi characters? And my response always is, they're not as common as games would let you believe they are.
No, they're not.
No. Just be thankful that, some games are even acknowledging that in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Thancred is... not Thancred. Thancred's another character.
We're not in 14. We don't think we'll get that long tangent again.
Sorry, the reason why I said Thancred is because I watched the video making fun of him.
Mm. But Thane...
Yeah, Thane is...
If you say his full name, it kind of get close to it. But Thane is your suave, to-the-point, new alien species for Mass Effect 2. He is a Drell.
which is kind of a lizard guy.
Kind of like a salamander, I think.
Yeah, Salamander's probably what they explain. He was.
He is also very spiritual with his racist religion.
Yeah, and like he after doing assassination, he does a small little prayer, and
I'm praying right now. Hush.
yeah, pretty much that's what he does. You walk in and he just holds his fingers like, 1 moment, please. I mean, I'm in the middle of something. Oh, okay.
He's also dying.
Yeah, and I actually really like that touch is that he wants to do a few last missions before he dies.
He wants to do more good for the universe before he goes to meet his wife.
Yep. And
which had a really nice name for it, but I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Or something like that. Something with an S that starts with.
Yeah, and
it's a very nice storyline if you do romance him.
Yeah, I've heard good things about it. I never went and did that with my female character. I did romance another character with her.
You romanced Garrus, didn't you?
Yeah, Garrus.
Mm-hmm.
I like Garrus.
Oh, no, I'm not arguing. I did that with my second female character, and that worked out well.
Yeah, I was debating going with him for 2, but at the same time...
it gets really touching in 3, is all I'm saying.
I've seen video clips of if you did romance him in 2, what happens to him in 3 is really sweet and tragic. And you throw a funeral in your apartment.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to discuss in 3 with the DLC and stuff, because that...
Yeah.
But
Thancred is... Not Thancred. Thane. Thane is, while at the same time a really good character, he's almost the safest character, which means he's the most middle of the road for me. Like, I know he's there.
I find that he's the safest in this because of how he is.
Yeah.
He's not... Because the way his religion worked, which is not something we don't have the time to get into at this point.
No.
But if you're interested, you can always look it up because it's a very spiritual, open concept.
Yeah.
And the way his species work is that he can get set off on memories, and he just goes on like this tangent of random words about that memory.
Yeah.
Which makes it kind of weird that he's an assassin, because if he gets triggered, he's going to be screwed.
Yeah, I know. But at the same time, his skills are so good. I imagine if he gets triggered and then snaps out just before dying, he'll just take the gun.
He is very good at what he does.
Yeah.
And his little side story concerns his son and trying to stop his son from following in his footsteps concerning his wife's death.
Yeah, which is a really good... And once again, the payoff in 3 is so good.
Yeah.
And really heartfelt. And basically, he feels like the safest one here, but his payoff in 3 is probably the best.
I can agree to that.
Next character... Oh, what's her name? Samara. She's our new Asari character, another biotic. And she's... I guess I want to say a wandering bounty hunter.
She's what her race calls as a matriarch.
Yeah, she's really freaking old.
Yeah, she's probably in her couple thousands.
Thousands, at least 1,000, I think.
Yeah, but instead of settling down and being an advisor to her species, she's a space cop.
She's a wandering space cop bounty hunter who, in terms of her species, when one of these, I think the Justicars are called?
Yes, that's it.
When a Justicar shows up, they take charge. And for one thing, they get shit done because they're so powerful. But another thing is they take charge and disrupt everything.
Yeah, they're kind of like the Spectres in a sense.
Yeah, they're basically, I want to say the prototype of the Spectres.
Yeah, well, they have the codes they have to live by.
Yeah.
Whereas the Spectres don't.
Yeah, Spectre gets shit done. The Justicar gets things done within a rule book, but for some reason, when the Justicar's rule book and the Justicars themselves do more collateral damage when they show up.
Yeah, their rule book trumps everything else to them.
Yeah, Spectres, while they'll get shit done, they tend to get things done in a more quiet and subdued way.
Most of the time.
I said try to. Justicars, I get the basically, I get the impression that
look, it wasn't my fault that exploded.
A way of Spectre handles things is they silently poison the room.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, no muss, no fuss. Justicar's response to kill a room full of people is to throw the goddamn wrecking ball at the entire building.
Okay, yeah, but she's pretty much doing this because she is tracking down her daughter, which goes along with her side quest. Her daughter kind of has this rare genetic defect where if she mates with somebody, she kills them and takes their energy.
In a very disruptive kind of way.
Yeah, she's not exactly. Now, this
Sign
is where it kind of gets a little different
weird.
because this is the first time where you can decide to keep with the character or take another character.
Yeah, you could basically, when she confronts her daughter, there's a point where they're struggling with each other, and you basically have to do the whole shoot her, no, shoot her. Whoever you shoot, they stay in your team. The winner stays in your team. So if you shoot, her daughter poses as her own mother,
Yeah.
and that's obviously the more renegade choice to take.
Which kind of makes me wonder what happens in Mass Effect 3 now, because I never did that.
I never did that either.
I'm going to have to look that up, but that's really
Yeah,
that's an interesting thought now.
Yeah, that's another thing. Even though me and Soul have replayed these games so often, we're still things me and him have not done at all.
Yeah, because despite the Justice Guard being an explosive element, I don't need another Jack on my goddamn ship.
No, that's pretty much my exact reason. Is I'd already the bottom half of my ship is already set to explode at any point. I'm not putting another piece of dynamite in there.
Now, there were two other crew members that were added as DLC.
Yeah.
The first one was released with the game as a special DLC content you get if you pre-ordered it. Zaid Masani. This is your gruff, old human mercenary. If it's been done, he's seen it.
If it can be killed, he's done it, and he's got a story for you. And a lot of his stories are quite interesting.
Yeah, that's what I like about him. He's got the fun stories. He's kind of like the Rex of this.
Yeah, he's definitely the Rex of this group, and his side mission is basically just taking care of some double crossers.
Mm-hmm. And the big double crosser to him.
Yeah, and pretty interesting, but not great.
He's definitely one of the more interesting characters I find, especially for just being DLC dropped.
Yeah, he could have been a lot more bland than what he was, but at the same time, he doesn't really bring anything extremely new to the team.
No, but at the same time, I think it's best put. I'd rather have the extra firepower than not have it.
Exactly. And he's decent. He's another one decent in the fight. I used him more than I did other characters.
Mm-hmm. Especially, he's also really nice for an easy pickup if you don't like Miranda or Jacob at the start.
Yeah. That's pretty much whenever I replay the game, I always end up taking him instead of Miranda and having him and Jacob until I get other characters to replace them. And then the other DLC character...
Kasumi Goto?
Goto, I think it is.
Yeah,
She's the team's thief.
Yeah, whereas Thane is your assassin and kind of removes people out of the way, she takes things.
Yeah, which I actually ended up really finding her adorable.
I found her a touch cliched at points, but she was an overall very enjoyable character.
Yeah, she's another one I really... she's basically my grunt. I greatly like her, and you're just okay with her.
Yeah. I mean, I did like her storyline, too, with breaking into that place, the whole DLC, dressing as a suit, playing James Bond with it all.
That's what made me love her, and her comments the entire time. I'm just snickering there, listening to her. I also especially love how you smuggle your gear in to that mission, which is you're delivering a giant statue of the first final boss, in a sense. And I'm just like, why would I? I love it. I never would have thought of it. I love it.
It's one of those nice little touch things.
And I like her stories about getting back essentially her ex's memory. Well, not her ex's, her dead boyfriend's memories.
Yeah.
Which is bringing some real science fiction crap into this.
Oh, yeah.
But it's really fun, and I'm happy what happens to her in 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess we should mention the returning characters now.
But we don't have to go as depth in them with them. But the first returning one is Garrus Vakarian,
a.k.a. now Archangel.
Yeah, after the events of 1, which I'm going to have to save for the start of part 3, because this is already going into like the 45-minute mark. He has been separated from the...
He's on his own in the most lawless place in space, basically being a vigilante.
Yeah.
Solving problems with a sniper rifle.
And he kind of builds his own team to kind of replace the one he doesn't have anymore. in a sense.
And they end up dying. But the thing is, it took like 4 different like mafia groups teaming up to do this to him. And when you find him, he's basically being attacked from like by 4 different military groups, still picking them off one by one. And he's that good of a sniper now. Like he went from, oh, you're a damn good sniper, to, oh, Jesus Christ, how are you? And you have to run up to help him, so you have to run through the armies. And they make a joke that you were shooting. Yes, but I was using the fake bullets on you.
Another
He's done through some major character growth, and unlike in 1, he's now a romance option.
Yeah, I think this is also where his story really starts branching away from being a basic Turian.
Yeah, and gets really good.
Yeah, this is where he definitely branches off to being a character, in my opinion.
Yeah, I can agree with that. And then the next returning character,
depending upon decisions you made in 1, was either Ashley Williams or Caden Alenko.
So, okay.
I don't know Ashley Williams' story because I never went with her.
Yeah. Well, we said last time, if you liked her, you liked her. Yada, yada, yada.
I
But
did know
Caden,
some small points with her, but it was never enough for me to want to make the choice.
yeah. Caden's pretty pissed off. You're joining Cerberus, who is technically the bad guys.
Doesn't punch you, but kind of says he's disappointed in you and walks off. So we're done there.
Yep. And the next returning character,
Liara T'Soni.
who's really only there for a single DLC part.
But was a very interesting DLC part.
Yeah, she basically becomes an info broker.
Yeah.
The info broker.
Mm-hmm. Known as the Shadow Broker. Because in a comic offshoot before the start of Mass Effect 2, she helped find your body.
We'll explain that.
Yeah, I'll explain that in a moment, but basically she helped you come back from the dead.
I'm just going to say this about Liara's storyline. I didn't care for it until that boss fight. That boss fight was delicious.
I like how he had the boss had something to say for every character you brought with you.
Yep.
I made a save point, went back, got other characters just to see what the storyline was for that.
I remember you telling me that, and then you just basically described the ones I didn't take. I'm like, thank you. But, she's done some growing up between games. She basically, despite the fact she's not that old in her species terms, she felt like she matured the most between games.
Yeah, here's the thing. Age maturity is very clearly defined as 2 different things in this universe, which I think is what adds to the story.
Yeah. And then I guess we talked to the next returning character, one of my personal favorites.
Probably
Tali.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. Tali was the next recurring character, and her story got pretty interesting.
She, as far as maturity-wise, this was where the middle ground came in, I think.
Yeah.
She was still herself from 1, but was taking steps towards being the adult her, if that makes any sort of sense.
Yeah. And not in the sense of, I'm an adult now. It's basically more like, no, I'm an adult. I have shit to do. I'm going to do that shit.
Yeah, she starts off with you. You meet her in your first mission in Mass Effect 1. Or 2, I mean.
Yeah.
Well, second, technically, because the first one was surviving, but details later.
Yeah.
You meet up with her, and she is leading a small group investigating the disappearances of...
a group of Quarians.
Yes, because... I'll get to the storyline in a minute. And so she's looking for the last Quarian that she got a signal from.
Yep.
And when she sees you, after coming back from the dead, she almost squeezed at seeing her dead friend back to life.
Yeah,
and I don't blame her for.
Much like with Garrus, she's now also a romance option.
Yes.
So you can take that squeeze as much as you want.
Mm-hmm.
She and Garrus are both straight romance options.
Indeed.
But
and this is important for 3.
But it's hinted that she kind of still has a crush on female Shepard.
I think a crush or like a
there's an actual pretty funny line, I think, in 3 that mentions if you are dating Garrus as female Shepard, she actually has feelings for Garrus as well, and she mumbles while drunk that she would kind of like a threesome with you and Garrus.
Yeah, I can see it experimenting.
No, I can't see because of how awkward that would be for germs.
I didn't say she should, but I still said I could see her wanting to.
Fair enough. But yeah, she basically has responsibilities, and she's basically earned them, and she's basically showing up. You know, she's grown since working with you.
And
but she
one
still
of the
has
things is that in the previous one, you could help her with her pilgrimage, and that kind of helps diffuse the situation with her in the first mission.
Yep.
Um, now, her story concerns her father and the studying of the Geth and other huge
Treason.
situations. And am always taking the same stance on this.
Mm.
Fuck you, Quaritch. You're lucky to have her. She's coming with me.
Yeah, if you think she's responsible for treason, you have no idea what you're missing out on.
Yeah.
Like, this girl is probably one of the smartest people in the room almost everywhere she goes.
Now, I'd just like to point out that you had the option of blaming her father, which was actually what happened.
Yeah.
Throwing her under the bus.
Which, why would you do that?
No, but it's what she wants, but it's like also like, I can't do that either.
Yeah, she doesn't want her father's name dragged through the mud.
So, and then there's a third option. I think if you have a high enough either Renegade or Paragon rank,
yeah,
you can pretty much just say, fuck this, you're being stupid, we're leaving.
Essentially, the Renegade one, I always picture just Shepard just jumping in the middle of the trial room, pointing his middle finger at every single quarry, and then dancing out of the room. Just like, well, I have no argument for that. What did that human gesture mean? I don't know, but I feel insulted.
Because, how do I put this? I can understand the council being cautious with how they have to live.
Yeah, their history with the Geth is very meh. But
there's a point where you're going to have to understand your enemy if you're going to retake your home.
Or even just to survive.
Yeah.
No. Let's just leave them be an anomaly.
Now, there are other returning characters, such as your pilot, Jeff, Moreau, Joker. Kind of still does the same thing he did in 1, makes jokes and a conversational point.
Which, in my case, is he makes jokes. When?
There's David Anderson, who is one of my favorite returning characters, who, depending on the events of the first game, is or is not on the council.
He always is on the council in my story.
Same. I just don't trust Udall.
No.
And for a very good reason.
No, yeah.
That's an asshole.
Yeah.
You also meet the Elusive Man, the head of Cerberus.
Who is actually a pretty fascinating character and a really good behind-the-curtain kind of character.
Mm-hmm. He has a lot of good lines. He's one of those characters who he doesn't see himself in the wrong, but knows that wrong is being done at the same time.
Yeah, whenever I think of him, I always think of a line from Code Geass. Basically, if evil is being done and the only way of stopping it is doing a wrong, do you do a wrong to stop another wrong? Or do you let evil exist? Either way, more evil still exists in the universe.
Mm-hmm.
His response is, I do the evil to get rid of the first one. And he's well aware of that. He's not ashamed of that,
Yeah,
paradox.
the Elusive Man also kind of steps in the wrong directions also.
But the thing is, though, he definitely crosses that line very fast. And he makes no qualms about being in charge of a pro-right, pro-human.
I think the problem with him is that he has no hesitation for this.
But the thing is, you also get the impression that maybe he's just been doing it for so long.
And there is a backstory for why he's like that. I keep meaning to read that book, but...
there are lots of books involved in this universe.
Oh, yeah, this is an expanded universe. But I never quite found out the entire reason, but he does have his reasons, and it's...
Yeah.
The problem is he has no hesitation. I don't think that's something you should have in his position.
Yeah. Either way, he's... Only thing the Elusive Man is missing is a cat to stroke. And then he'd be the best James Bond.
I'll get you next time, Shepard. Next time! Too soon?
I was gonna go with a more James Bond reference than Dr. Claw, but that works too.
But actually, the funny thing is, he actually hires you at the start of Mass Effect 2 for this.
Yeah, he's pretty much well aware that Shepard gets shit done. He needs shit done.
Yeah. One of the new characters you also meet is the AI for your ship. And I'll explain why that is a huge deal in the story I'll tell you in a moment. But, she is the ship's AI that's pretty much meant to handle like cyber warfare, like trying to disable the opponent's ships, their gravity, their oxygen, or whatever the hell they breathe.
Manage things on your ship so you can have less crew.
Mm-hmm.
So you can be much more of a skeleton crew.
Yeah.
Which, considering you do a lot of really Black Ops-y things in this game.
Yeah, this is more Black Ops than the previous game.
Yeah, this one actually feels like a Black Ops game. Very, very dirt you go through in this game.
Yeah, but to be fair, the first one you also had the proper authorities agreeing with you on this one, so...
Well, somewhat.
Yeah.
This one, no one pretty much agrees with you,
Yeah.
but you still get shit done.
And that's pretty much the main
That
roster for this.
needs to be a T-shirt. It needs to be a picture of like Fem Shepherd with underneath it "Get Shit Done" and then vote for Fem Shepherd.
The next Citadel leader.
Get shit done.
And no one can argue with that. Except maybe Samus, but that's a different story.
No, Samus just blows shit up.
Hey, still got it done.
Blow shit up. Blow shit up.
You got get shit done or blow shit up. Take your pick.
These are pretty strong opinions. Which one involves the least amount of chance of me dying?
Neither.
Who do I vote for?
Well, one can obliterate you pretty much by looking at you. Another one pretty much just brings the whole team to shoot you 32 times.
Opens the airlock and jumps out.
I still love that line from 3.
Oh yeah. Anyway.
I'll go to the story real quick. Basically, at the start of Mass Effect 2, you die. You got space because the Collectors, an alien organization that collects random species and junk that trade for it, kill you for no apparent reason. They just found you, blew up the Normandy, and you got spaced.
With a large part of your crew.
Yeah.
Like none of your playable characters.
Yeah, no one there would want to die, no. But, so Cerberus, knowing that you can get shit done, spends billions upon billions of credits, what the money is called in this system, to revive your ass through Project Lazarus.
I love that. I love that they went full on and called it the Lazarus Project.
Yeah. And at this point, it's like 2 years later that you've been dead. So whenever anybody sees you, it's kind of a miracle that they even see you. So that's why everybody's so surprised.
In fact, the automated like personal advertisements, and you go back to the Citadel, actually point out you've recently been dead.
Yeah, when you try and go back to the Citadel, they have it registered as dead, and it's kind of like, yeah, I get that a lot.
But the advertisements still play because you walk by them, so they have to say you've recently been dead.
Yeah,
just like okay.
But, I get the feeling that's not that outside of an occurrence for a Spectre.
It's probably not that outside of an occurrence, but it still cracks me up. Like they had to go and program that in. Like you have recently been to death.
But the thing is that Cerberus knows that the Collectors are working with the Reapers. They don't outright say it or know it, but things are pointing towards that because the Collectors have technology that is beyond anything else anybody has.
And it has some similarities to Reaper tech.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like the Reapers just painted one of their guns brown.
No.
But it still has some of the awe of the Reaper tech.
And we'll get to who and what the Collectors are in 3 because that ties in a lot better with the character from 3. Yeah. So I'd like to talk about that there.
Yep.
Plus we're low on time. Yep. But so the main point is that you are now working with Cerberus because after talking to the Citadel and the Council that pretty much thinks that the first Reaper shit was nothing more than a Geth invention and none of this really is existing.
Yeah.
Denial much.
La, 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 la,
hey,
la.
I saved all your asses and proved all this junk. Yeah, we don't believe it.
No. At the time, we might have, but now we have clear, rational heads. That giant spaceship, millions of years more advanced than the Geth, that made clearly a Geth ship. But it talked to us, Geth trick.
What about Virgil on that planet? Oh, that thing ran out of power. God damn it! Couldn't you just power it back up?
Well, you see, it takes one of those weird European plugins, and none of us brought any of those.
I hate this council. But yeah, that's what got you working with Cerberus, because Cerberus and you both know shit is going down. So the council pretty much says, as long as you keep all your activity into this sector, go on.
Yeah, we'll pretend you're not there.
Yeah.
That's the best they give you.
Why would we save these guys in 3 again?
It's technically the right thing to do.
I will say this. In Mass Effect 2, I hated the redesign for the Citadel.
I didn't care. I didn't hate it. I didn't like ones that much either, so I'm like, eh.
Well, the problem was I always found myself getting lost for some unknown reason. Like, where the fuck am I?
More people get lost in ones, though.
No, I was fine with 1.
No. So I'm saying more people. Not here's the It's basically that maze in Mordor all over again, where everyone else gets lost and you always navigate through it perfectly. That's
Point.
basically what one is.
And then there's that other one with the glowing crystals where we're trying to go down with our third character. Like, oh, we gotta go down. Oh, it's over here. How the hell do you know that? I don't know.
How do you know that when you can't even find your own way out of your room some days?
Yeah,
Like,
I do this weird thing where I can go through the most complicated maze with ease, but I can't find north on a map.
Just rotate the map. No, I said rotate. Don't turn it backwards.
All right, guys, just follow me.
Turn
5
to the
minutes later,
side.
out of the maze.
Turn to the side with information on it, not the white blank side.
Wait, okay.
That's folding the map up, you jackass. That's taking a whole other map.
Yeah, I'm weird with maps and guiding myself through things.
You're kind of like Ryoga at times from Ranma 1/2.
I can't argue that.
I mean, at least you, unlike Ryoga, at least you admit you have a terrible sense of direction.
Mm-hmm.
But at least when we're lost, it can't get any worse than following you.
No.
At least in video games. No offense. If we ever go on a road trip, you're not even holding the GPS.
No problem.
Instead, you can act like as a secondary cup holder. Hey, that means you're helping on a road trip. That's better than some people have been on road trips have been.
But yeah, during this entire adventure, you learn that that you're right. The collectors are working with the Reapers. Big surprise, you were right.
Okay. That's another Shepherd T-shirt. I was right.
I like the comic where it's, the Reapers are coming. Okay, the Reapers are coming. Third one. What the hell did I say?
One of my favorite ones is I can't wait till you come crawling back to me. 2 games later. Wow, look who came crawling back to Shepherd.
Yeah, I think there might be a third or an extra episode of this where we just talk about the overall story with this. Because just doing the characters alone is taking the hour up.
Luckily, though, there's not much gameplay changes in 3.
No, that'll cut down a little bit of time. Because 3, the only major changes was that they streamlined. I think they streamlined the leveling system too much in 2.
Yeah.
There's really not there's a couple options, but there's not that many.
Yeah.
And 3, I think, found that right balance between RPG elements and the third-person gun shooting.
And also story parts.
Yeah. I think 3 was a much better pace in some aspects, too.
Yeah, 3 is
definitely urgency to it all.
Yeah, 3 is probably the strongest of all the Mass Effect games. Especially, we'll get to that later.
Yeah, I just want to say that I think 1 felt more like an experiment, a final experiment in some regards.
I still think 1 at worst feels like an open alpha.
Mm-hmm. It depends on where you look at it at.
At best, a beta. 2 is definitely a finished game, but with a bit of identity issues.
Mm-hmm. And 3 was kind of the accumulation of all their learning experiences put into the final product.
Yes, 3 is the closest that you can get to. Like 3 is definitely one that's more semi-perfect than Wasted Potential.
Mm-hmm.
1 and 2 are definitely wasted potential at their worst.
Yeah, because I believe we talked about the vehicles in the first podcast of this, and that will mention again in probably the 4th episode, going over the overall story arc. Because even in 3, there's going to be a ton of characters to talk about.
Yep.
So we'll leave it off here for now. We'll talk about more of this in the next podcast. So I would just like to say thank you for listening. I hope you have a good day. Any final parting words?
The Hammerhead is the superior vehicle.
You wish.